everyone, welcome to That Pedal Show. Dan here.
Mick here, hello. Not bad for 220 watt amps.
That's not bad, is it?
20 is plenty, is that what they say?
Indeed, indeed. 40 is Morty. Right.
Please subscribe. Hit the button, whatever colour it is. Apparently it changes colour, but please subscribe to us on YouTube. It's free. It helps us out, so please do that. We like it when the number gets bigger.
An alarming number of people who watch this show do not subscribe. Did you know that?
We need a psychotherapist on that, Daniel.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And please go to thatpedalshowstore.com and pick you up some merch. We have all kinds of things there which help fund this show, for which we are very grateful.
Yeah.
Nice.
Brilliant.
What are we doing today then?
Right. Today, we're going to go back to basics a little bit, but I've sort of been working with something.
It reminds me of, you remember Viz magazine? Which I think still
I
goes.
remember it very
They had
well.
a character called Baxter Basics.
Okay.
Anyway, I just got back.
I just know the Profanosaurus.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So.
If you're new, sorry.
Right. Something I've been working with a little bit. Years ago, when our dear friend Andy Timmons was on the show.
You know, people moan, Dan. People do moan that we don't honk anymore.
Oh, okay.
Ready?
Well, if anyone deserves a honk. Very good, touche. So, years ago, when I first did a pedal board for Andy Timmons, he did something on that board, the way he set up his pedals, which has sort of been ticking around in my brain for a long time. And I've been working with it a bit recently. It's like I had a bit of an aha moment.
I've been working with this.
Yeah, exactly.
For some time.
You fold it, you keep folding.
Okay, so what was the aha moment then?
Right.
Hunting high and low.
One thing I found that Andy did was that when he set up his pedals, the amp was actually quite quiet, but he had the pedals turned up a lot. Right? So normally what we would do, we'd set the amplifiers to a point where they're working, and then we would use the pedals to enhance what was going on with the amps.
I've always done it like this.
Have the amp quiet.
Yeah, quieter, and always have loads of volume from the pedals.
Right.
On the loudest scale. But
Sure.
We have a twist on that.
There's a twist on
small,
that.
subtle twist.
Exactly. And this so what I found, Andy got, anyone that knows Andy, the tones that he they're just otherworldly.
Chef's kiss.
Yeah, truly, truly astonishing. And when I saw Andy, the way he set the pedals up, and it was a step further than just sort of juicing it a little bit into the amplifier.
Okay.
It was sort of, oh, that's really loud. You're really punching into the front end of the amplifier. And so I've sort of made a little bit of a discovery because, and basically I'll get you there, right? But the first thing I want to show you is what's going on with the gain stages that I've chosen. So Mick and I have chosen 3 overdrive pedals each. It's boosts, overdrives, whatever you want to name it.
These are mine.
Yep.
These are Daniel's. And they are in the order that you see them in terms of the signal chain.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed. So
Amps.
the amps today, we've got Fender Deluxe Reverb and the Supro Black Magic.
Yeah. Blackmagic without reverb. The Deluxe Reverb obviously has reverb. And they're both set to the point where they've still got some headroom.
Yeah, lots of headroom left.
Yeah, let's just have a quick listen to that before we go on any further. Dan, just give us a chord. This is no pedals. These are just the amps. And with the Strat, I'm not really in danger of pushing those into any overdrive. It's actually a pretty weak sound. And as Dan said earlier, we would normally have them up from there because neither of these amps is really working yet.
No, not at all. Not at all. They're set with loads of headroom.
I know what Noel would like to see.
Yes. You'd like to see the knobs, wouldn't you, young Noel?
I wonder what the settings are.
Okay, so I'm going to just take you through how I've got the pedal set up at the moment, okay? And there's a couple of really interesting things. So first of all, my 3 pedals, I've got my first is the Odyssey from Hamstead, and I've got this set up as like a bit of a transistory, chunky, pushy thing. It's kind of like a really vibey sound. So this is the Odyssey. So the first thing to notice is how loud that is, right?
Yeah, there is a train of thought that says get your volume and set all your other pedals at unity gain, all your gain pedals, so that when you turn the pedal on, it doesn't get louder. You're laying waste to that?
Yeah. This is a different way to go. And yeah, we're going to get to the interesting part in a minute, okay? So that's the Odyssey. It's a bit... the way I've got it set, it's a really interesting pedal. You've got basically an EQ section with a level and then an overdrive.
Right.
And then you can set whether the EQ is pre or post gain stage. You can set the amount of level times 1, times 2, or times 5, and 3 different clipping circuits. So it's an amazing, like really flexible thing. It's
Swiss Army knife,
it is,
boost and shaper.
It'll do like from a little bit of a goosing thing to a full-on transistor fuzz. It's really great. The next thing is I've got the Barber, which is the tone pump EQ. And I love this thing. It's really warm, very ampy. And I've got that set up thusly. So again, same thing. It's really loud compared to the direct sound of the amplifier. And the last thing I've got set up is the Department 10 boost from Blackstar. And this is set up as like a warm, it when it's driving, it does have a bit of gain in it, but it does sound really lovely.
That is the Kingsley page for people who don't want to wait or spend as much money.
Yeah, it's so good.
I mean, it doesn't sound exactly like a Kingsley page, but it is in that ballpark, and it does that job.
I love
really
it.
very well.
Yeah, it's really great, and I saw it on there. I thought we need to have that.
Yeah,
it's really lovely.
So you've basically gone boost with a bit of hair, overdrive, boost.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Now, what's interesting is that they're all set at a very similar level. So what you would normally think is if I paired them, if you got overdrive set at all at similar level and you paired 2 together, what do you think naturally would happen?
Well, I know what will happen, but
right.
What you might think would happen is you get double the volume.
Well, you would get double the gain.
Yeah.
You got one going into the other.
Yeah, To clarify.
Yeah.
Depends which way round they are.
Exactly. But what's really interesting, let's take if I go from the Barber, and the Barber is, there's a lot of gain there, and you would think, okay, if what I'm going to do is just push another gainy pedal into the input of it, it'll just get more distorted. I'm not really going to get any more level.
Yeah.
Right? But have a listen to what happens. So here's the Barber.
little bit louder.
Yeah.
A lot gainier.
It's a lot gainier, but you are getting a definite lift.
Yeah.
Right? And again, if I do the department 10 and I put the Barber into the department 10, so you remember the department 10 is set. When you hear them together, they're at a similar level. So you think, okay, a tonal change, but have a listen to what happens when I put the Barber on and then kick the department 10 on. But when you hear them individually, in
a way, it's gain staging basics.
It is.
But not just about gain, about volume too, and texture.
So the magic knob in this situation is this, the volume control. If you have a listen to the difference between, so they're all set at a similar level, right? But let's just take the department 10, for example, because that's set up the cleanest. So here's the department 10 on its own. And without it, it's a huge boost, right? So what we're actually doing is we are boosting the input level into all three of these pedals. So let's say we are doubling that input, okay? So I'm not just adding more distortion, even though the pedals are set at similar levels, and I can use all three for core tones. And this is the big difference, because normally my boost at the end would be set so much louder to make sure I've got enough, boost there, because I've got the pedals working with the amplifier.
Right.
But in this situation, I can use all three pedals on their own as core tones.
Yeah.
Right?
And then combine them.
But then when I combine them, when I combine the department 10 with either of the other two, I get this double input lift, because there's still plenty of headroom left.
Yeah.
And it's still multiplying the input by 2.
Yeah.
So when you're set up with amplifiers that have got headroom and you're happy to get the tone from your pedals, it's a really great way to do it, because now I don't just have these three sounds from these pedals. I've got combinations of all of them that work together.
Yeah, because another way of thinking about that is that if you've got multiple overdrives on your board, and perfectly legitimate way to do it, you might think that pedal is for that sound, that pedal is for that sound, that pedal is for that sound, and never the twain shall mix.
Sure.
Quite a lot of the people we get in, harking back to Andy Timmons, kind of say, no, I've got all these flavours and it's about mix and match in any particular. So it might be that in some places, you like the Barber and the Odyssey, but another day to do exactly the same job, you might like the Barber and the Blackstar.
Sure.
Or whatever other pedals you have. So are you basically saying then that you wouldn't be playing the amp without a pedal turned on? Absolutely.
Yeah. The core tone from the amplifier is just there to like receive the gain and the color from a gain stage. So like, for example, I would always have, if I'm just doing clean stuff, the department 10 would be on, and it's great, great clean sound.
Yeah, nice thick clean sound.
Yeah. When I go to the Barber, really punchy in that. But those two sounds are at a similar level. But now when I kick the department 10 on after the Barber, I get this massive boost. Because it's taking that input level, even though the input level of the Barber is massive, it's still taking that and multiplying that by 2 at the output.
Yes.
So I get this really cool way to gain stage, use use all these as core sounds, but then when I mix and match them, I get the ability to really, punch the input of the amplifiers. And because the amps are turned down, there's loads of headroom.
Yeah, the deluxe might. In fact, they're both probably just going into overdrive a little bit.
Sure.
It's not like a 100-watt clean section. But that's nice too, because that's an extension of this.
Absolutely.
The point is they're not set very overdriving, so it doesn't all just squash to nothing when you put the pedals in. It might sound to you anyway that when he's got two of the more gainy ones on, or it's making a big gain sound, that's like real raucous rock and roll sound that you couldn't really use for anything. But actually, for playing lead, it would give you the sustain.
Oh yeah.
And overdrive. Just have, because everything you've played so far is big chunky chords.
Sure. Okay.
Very rock. Try some lead stuff with combinations.
Okay. Let's go.
And too much if you want it.
Absolutely. But it's like, it does seem like a simple thing, but if I had all the pedals set at the same level as the amplifier, that flexibility for stacking just isn't there.
And you also don't get any of the dynamic response that you would get from the guitar. One great benefit of volume isn't just about being loud. We say this all the flipping time. It isn't just about your maximum SPL. It's about everything that exists between just being heard and maximum SPL, which gives you all this lovely stuff that we like in all our favourite guitar players.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people watching who'll go, there's no way I could get away with that volume lift.
Sure.
I just couldn't get away with it. And it's like, you just need to figure out how and when to use it, because we say this all the time, but I'm going to say it again. How many gigs have we been to where you can just about hear the guitar and it's okay? Person comes to play a solo.
Gone.
All I can hear is the kick drum.
Yeah.
And the snare.
Yeah.
And she stopped singing, so can't hear her anymore. And it's a bit of courage to go, actually, you do need that volume lift
totally.
if you're self-mixing.
Yeah.
Because
when the sound guy goes, give me a louder sound.
Sound engineer's still eating his Mr. Tom nut protein bar, isn't he?
Yeah.
Do you remember Mr. Tom?
No. Mr. Tom protein.
So
No, that's
good.
new to me.
Well, it's peanuts. Peanuts and caramel. They're so good. All right. I'll have a quick talk through the three pedals that I've chosen.
Yep.
So I take a similar approach to Dan, and I do this. In fact, when I went out and did the gigs with Ainsley this summer and my own gigs, this is pretty much exactly what I do.
Right.
I will have a boosty thing up front,
Yep.
the main overdrive in the middle, and a boosty thing at the end, usually. And that might be, well, for the gigs in the summer, it was the Argo, it was a Tube Screamer, I think, or maybe this HRM, or maybe a J-Rocket Dude, something like that.
Yeah.
Something gainier and more compressy, and then usually a clon on the end. But in this case, I've gone for a straight boost. And the reason for that is, in fact, let's talk about the Argo first. Argo's an octafuzz, right? We all know it's an octafuzz. Well, some of us know it's an octafuzz. So here's the Strat, pretty weak into the 2 amps.
You're not going to offend anyone with that.
Not making me happy.
Sure.
Turn the Argo on, and we get the...
It's such a cool sound.
It's cool. It's not loud enough, so I'm just going to turn the heavy water on just to get me a bit more volume. Who in their right mind would use that as a boost?
Sure.
Blend to 0.
That's awesome.
No idea why that came to mind, but it's almost got a compressing nature to it.
Right.
So what I've got now is 2-in-1, right? So I've got my boost up front.
Yeah. Yeah.
But then if I want the octa, I can.
It's there, just dial it in.
I can just dial it in.
Yeah.
So like Dan was saying,
Yeah.
it's quite the volume lift. It's so much a volume lift. I'm even talking over my own guitar playing, which
Yeah.
I berate everyone to do because it feels so quiet. This is useful for a couple of things. One is just a thicker, clean sound with the volume down a bit. All dynamics.
It's just that the frequency of that, it just, especially with that, and the neck pickup, but it's all, the mids are there, the top end is there, you can hear the pick on it. It just sounds freaking awesome.
It's almost like an EP boost with more top.
Yeah, right, okay.
Because you get that thick bottom end. I love it. I love it. I have been trying to persuade Zach to make us one with... Anyway, that's a story for another day. And then on the other side of that, the heavy water does a different kind of boosty job. It's less thick, but it really does. The reason I use the boost on the end like this, again with loads of level, is for precisely what I was just talking about, where on the Strat where I want these 2 and 4, nice 2 and 4 sounds.
Yes.
Just weak, right?
Right.
That's a John Mayer. That's the song called Rosie.
Beautiful.
It's a beautiful, beautiful lick.
So
And
they're at similar levels,
Yeah.
right? But they're doing a different job. It's the heavy water's got less mids in it, but that beautiful top end.
yeah,
Yeah.
and that's partly to do with the way it's buffering the signal all the way through, and Strat pickups and all that, and cable runs. You do lose a lot of that. So what Dan was demonstrating was the ability to kind of get your rock on and really boost it. For me, it's, yes, we can do that in a minute, but it's also about giving the dynamic
Right.
for the clean stuff.
Yeah.
So that I can get in there with the, with fingers on strings and just have a bit more.
And just remind people what the level of the amps are on their own.
It's just the inspiration just isn't there.
Yeah.
You get all this. So boost either side, which gives you the lift, and as Dan says, each of the boosts is twice as loud as the amp on its own. Why not just turn the amp up? Because I prefer the sound of that for the way it buffers it.
Yeah, and the way it pushes into the front of the amp.
Gets you a bit of juice going. So the middle pedal then is also going to be quite loud, and this is doing the opposite job of the other two. This is the overdrive with some gain in it.
Yeah.
And for those of you who don't know, HRM means Hot Rubber Monkey, which was a mod done to a Dumble, and it's supposed to sound like a particular Dumble overdrive special.
Okay.
Sorry about the tuning. We'll both play some different guitars in a sec, because this one really comes into its own with humbuckers.
Okay.
So now, exactly what Dan just says. I can boost into the front of the HRM using the Argo to make it thicker and more distorted.
Wild.
Loving that.
That's fantastic.
Or the heavy water after gives you your big kick, right? This will get probably preposterously loud. And all three together would probably be unusable, but let's try it anyway. Gain and volume. All on together, too much, over the top, but then
Yeah.
you got this.
Yeah. And you could, I mean, so for example, if I turn the distortion down in the Barber, right? Now kick the Odyssey on in front of that. really cool things about gain stacking like this is just that bit of manipulation of the... It's not just about the saturation of the pedal. It's about understanding where the pedal sits volume-wise. And man, it just unlocks so much. Because normally, if I've got... And just to reiterate this, if the pedals are set at the same level of the amplifier, what I need to boost is a pedal at the end that gives me loads of volume, right? So that I can boost. And that's great, but it's not a sound normally that I can use on its own because it's so much louder than everything else. But with the pedals set like this, I've got 3 pedals that are basically set at a very similar volume that I can use for different things.
Yeah.
But when I stack them, I also get a volume boost. I get a gain boost when I want it. I just think it's a really fantastic way to at least experiment with. You know, of course, we love these amplifiers, and you turn them up and they do a really specific thing, and it's gorgeous. But actually, they also like being punched really hard into the front end, and it delivers something else from the amplifier.
Very much so, because the harmonic relationship that's created by using pedals stacked together is unique.
Yeah.
And
totally.
It might be that you like the different versions of different things. And there might be a bunch of questions, people saying, why not just use a volume pedal? Because it's not just about volume.
Yeah.
It's about the gain and harmonic character that the overdrive pedal or boost imparts. Unique to every overdrive and boost pedal family, isn't it?
Yeah, sure.
I haven't played this guitar for ages, which is a crime.
It is a crime. Well, you're
just
doing
wanna-
that.
It's a very thick sounding guitar, this, with some really nice sounding humbuckers. Close enough for rock and roll. So you heard the Strat. Let's see how this reacts with exactly the same settings. It's going to be quite a different game, but let's see where we are anyway. Already considerably beefier than the Strat.
Yeah.
Unsurprisingly. That's hammering that into overdrive. So
Yeah, but it's also...
turn it down a bit.
It is a fuzz pedal.
Circuit,
so it's going to...
the boost.
The amount of input that it gets is going to change the sound of it.
It's not doing any fuzz with the blend at 0 though.
Is it
boosting.
not?
No.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now we're just in Silly Billy territory.
Awesome. That faux slide stuff is beautiful. So
Yeah,
amazing.
I've been listening to a bit of Sean Tubbs and a bit of Scott Henderson and trying to get my head around it a bit. It's really hard.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
It's like,
I've been trying to play like Sean Tubbs. It's really hard.
no. Anyway. And because this guitar's got a treble bleed,
Okay.
just an immense amount of 3 overdrive pedals, absolutely immense amount of latitude. I know I concentrated on the gain stuff a bit there, but by reducing the level in the Argo and the heavy water a bit, the clean stuff is all still there. I'll just do that finally before Dan plays his other guitar. We'll just tap this pickup, or split it, actually, I think is what it does. Trying to remember what all the controls do.
Yeah.
There's a lot in it.
There is a lot in that. Yeah. But it's so interesting that you can hear, well, the difference between that and the Strats is obvious. But you can really hear, because of the way the pedals are set up, even with the gain stuff on, you can still hear the guitar.
Yeah, it's still definitely this guitar.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just want to, for giggles, I just want to hear this into the selection that I've got. From playing Jeff last night at the end of VCQ.
This is a standard 61 reissue Les Paul with the original pickups. Les Paul
nothing.
SG.
Yeah.
So it does say Les Paul there. You can forgive me. It's got a very, very nice core tone, that guitar.
I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. It did take me a while because I'm so used to the telly thing.
Yeah.
But I sort of grown to really like it. groovy thing.
monster.
Tis a groovy thing.
That has a voice I really like.
Oh, cool. I'm really glad you like it.
It's
Yeah, I
all
got
those things: clarity, definition, harmonics. With great headroom comes great responsibility.
Yeah.
So managing those feedbacks as they go into harmonics,
Yeah.
but the harmonics as they go into feedback. But what that gives you, let's bring it back to the point. Very simple amps, 3 killer overdrive pedals and combinations thereof. The latitude it gives you for expression.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed, Dan and I are quite enjoying today playing because it's all there and you can feel it all and it all starts to bloom and happen and all that stuff that just makes you want to play.
Yeah.
Killer.
Yeah. Really, really fun. Yeah, I thought it was worth just touching on this again because I know we talk about gain staging a lot, but I think this is something that's really easy to overlook and to forget. Oh yeah, actually,
Yeah.
let's give the pedals some love. Let's get the pedals working and let the amp with the headroom. Let's push into the front end and then let the pedals do.
Yeah.
All the stuff that they do. And I just think the results can be absolutely spectacular, especially with what we've got available now.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like you can be so specific about the tones and stuff that you like because everything is available.
Yeah.
Mick and I have chosen completely different pedals,
But doing the same job.
but doing the same job. And
Yeah.
set up like this, they're dynamic, they're harmonically, there's a lot going on. But, sonically, the pedals are different.
It's important to say, don't sweat the actual choice of pedals too much. We have covered this in a whole video before. But if you stick your kind of core, I like this overdrive in the middle with a bit of gain on it.
Yeah.
Stick 2 things either side. And those 2 things don't have to be boosts. They could be overdrives and distortions with the gain turned down and the volume turned up. So they're doing a booster job. Some things will be better than that than others. Try it. Put the middle of the road thing you like, the gainy thing in the middle, and stick something boosty either side and play with texture and volume. And just get a feel. I mean, appreciate not everyone can play at volume at home all the time. So in whatever environment you can, just get a feel for how it develops and how it just gives you a bit more space and a bit more sort of harmonic interest for you to enjoy playing and just ringing some notes out of the thing.
Yeah. It's so important. You will get so much more out of your guitar playing if you can set it up to a point where there is interaction going on.
Yeah.
If you are in a position where you're sort of just getting into pedals, and you might be looking to explore a bit, your actual feel for what's going on dynamically with the guitar will just it'll push you forward.
It's a different game.
It totally is. It's awesome.
Nice.
Really fun.
Well, that was fun.
Yeah, really fun.
Yeah,
Really
so
fun.
kind of territory we've touched on before, gain staging basics, but maybe explained in a slightly different way, hopefully reinforces some of the stuff we've said before and maybe giving you some ideas to try.
Yeah, just remember that volume control. So get that volume control going and then, have a play. Brilliant. Thank you so much for watching. Again, please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. Massive thank you to anyone that's gone to thatpedalshowstore.com and grab some merch. It's the main way we fund the show. We've got T-shirts and pedals and socks and Christmas merch. Everything's there.
Hats.
Indeed. Yeah, so thanks to anyone that's gone
Strings.
there. Massive thank you to our patrons on Patreon for your support. We really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Also, our preferred retailers in the UK and Europe is...
I was going to say click down and see, but
Well,
it's
you can click down and see.
Anderson's Music of Guildford in Surrey, which I haven't said for a long time.
Right. Our mates in Australia?
Would be Pedal Empire of Brisbane in Queensland, where Dan is going for the festive season.
Indeed. I'm actually going there on the 21st of December. I'll be stopping in and saying hello. There'll be a barbecue. I'm going to make a little bit of noise and go,
That's
ha-ha.
the 21st of December 2023 for those of you watching in 2048.
Brilliant. Yeah, I think that's it.
I believe so. All right. Thanks
Brilliant.
for watching.
Thanks for watching. Have a great day. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.